the wife of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has made a rare public appearance alongside her husband after more than a year. Does the name Ri Sol-ju ring a bell? Probably not, and you're not alone. Despite being the wife of Kim Jong-un, North Korea's supreme leader, very little is known about her. This isn't due to a lack of information on your part, but rather the strict secrecy imposed by her husband. Join us as we uncover the strict rules that Kim Jong-un's wife must follow. Her name. We all know that North Korea's First Lady is called Ri Sol-ju, but was she really born with that name? You might assume it's normal for a woman to adopt her husband's last name after marriage, but hold on, are you sure that applies here? For starters, there's no connection between Kim Jong-un's name and Ri Sol-ju. The two names are completely different. While many women face the dilemma of whether to change their last name or hyphenate it after marriage, Ri Sol-ju allegedly had a far more drastic change. She may have been given an entirely new identity. It's not just that a different name was announced. Rather, no one seems to know of anyone with her original name who matches her background and appearance. And yet, she was born and raised in North Korea. So, what exactly changed? Marriage. Since being introduced as North Korea's First Lady, her past has been nearly impossible to trace, and her name doesn't seem to connect to any prior identity. Quick question: what would make you change your name completely? Her past must remain a secret. In today's world, the moment someone becomes a public figure, people start digging into their past, through interviews, old records, and media coverage, to piece together a biography that lasts for generations. But for Ri Sol-ju, that will never happen. Only a handful of details about her past are known, such as the school she attended and the year she married Kim Jong-un. Beyond that, everything is a mystery. That's because she is bound by strict rules that require her to stay silent about her past. And don't be surprised, her family is in on it too. Kim Jong-un ensures that nothing about his wife's background is made public. Imagine an entire nation not knowing anything about its own First Lady. You might think journalists simply haven't tried hard enough, but they have. The problem is that Ri Sol-ju rarely makes public appearances, making it nearly impossible to uncover details about her life. If she doesn't attend events regularly, how could she ever be interviewed? This secrecy isn't just a personal choice, it's a deliberate government strategy. North Korea believes that information is power and treats it as a weapon that could be used against them. The less the world knows, the more secure they feel. Some speculate that Ri Sol-ju's past might contain sensitive information that could expose weaknesses in the regime. However, in reality, North Korea is a country that will conceal anything to maintain its image and control. There was even a time when people speculated that Ri Sol-ju was actually the famous North Korean singer Hyun Song-wol, who was rumored to have been executed by Kim Jong-un in 2013. Some still believe this theory, but the truth behind that rumor was eventually revealed. Stay tuned to find out more later in this video. Dress code. Imagine yourself as the First Lady of your country. You probably picture yourself in elegant, sophisticated outfits, right? Well, if you ever find yourself in Ri Sol-ju's position, you can forget about that dream. North Korea's First Lady doesn't have the freedom to choose her outfits, or even her hairstyle. From head to toe, every aspect of her appearance is dictated by strict rules set by her husband. When Ri Sol-ju first appeared in public as the First Lady, she stood out with her modern, Western-style clothing, capturing public attention. But that didn't last long. Over time, her wardrobe changed dramatically, and people began to wonder why. The answer? It wasn't her choice. She is strictly forbidden from wearing jeans, and her once fashionable clothing collection gradually disappeared. Everything was replaced with more traditional conservative attire, all of which required Kim Jong-un's approval before she could wear it. Even her hairstyle has remained unchanged since the birth of their first daughter. It may seem baffling that there would be such rigid rules about her appearance, but there's a reason behind it. One of her outfits once made headlines during a New Year's event. She wore a traditional skirt and a wine-colored jacket, an ensemble that stood out in a sea of attendees. But standing out wasn't the goal. The real reason? That exact outfit was famously worn by Kim Jong-suk, the wife of North Korea's founding leader, Kim Il-sung. North Koreans instantly recognized the look, associating it with Kim Jong-suk, who was revered as the Mother of Korea. It became clear that Ri Sol-ju's new appearance was part of a carefully crafted image, a deliberate attempt by Kim Jong-un to position her as a symbolic maternal figure for the nation. She doesn't see her family. If there's one thing you had before you were even born, it's family. Let's not spend all day defining what family means. You have one, and you know how important they are. They're the people who stand by you no matter what. Now, imagine being completely cut off from them. No visits, no reunions, nothing. Sounds unbearable, right? Well, that's Ri Sol-ju's reality. Ever since she married Kim Jong-un, she has been forbidden from seeing her family. And no, it's not because she comes from a lower class, far from it. Before becoming First Lady, she was already part of a well-respected and wealthy family. Her mother was the head of a hospital's gynecology ward, and her father was a professor. One of the few known details about her past is that she met Kim Jong-un through her uncle, who was one of his military advisors. But despite these connections, her life changed drastically after marriage. As the First Lady of North Korea, Ri Sol-ju has had little to no contact with her family. Why? There must be a reason for such a strict rule. What do you think? No political opinions. In contrast to many First Ladies around the world who openly share their political views, Ri Sol-ju is expected to remain silent on political matters, both publicly and privately. She is prohibited from expressing opinions, even in casual conversations. As soon as politics arises, she must either excuse herself or stay mute. This rule serves several purposes. First, it preserves the image of the ruling family. The North Korean regime is determined to prevent any conflicting views from Ri Sol-ju that could challenge or undermine the government's stance. By ensuring she remains silent on political issues, the regime can control any potential threats to its narrative. Additionally, this rule helps maintain control over her role. Women in power can be seen as potential threats, and this strict restriction ensures that Ri Sol-ju doesn't overstep her boundaries. Her role is firmly defined as the wife of the leader, and she is expected to stay out of political affairs. Lastly, the silence prevents dissent. The authorities worry that Ri Sol-ju might express opinions that differ from the official government stance, which could weaken the ruling family's power. By keeping her silent, the regime ensures that no opposing views are introduced, safeguarding its control over the narrative. Not given coverage by the press. When a celebrity steps out in public, the paparazzi are never far behind, capturing every moment for the media. But for Ri Sol-ju, this is far from the case. She is not allowed to make any public appearances without her husband, Kim Jong-un. Even though there's little reason for her to go out alone, the key point here is that any public action she takes is seen as political. In North Korea, every move she makes is closely tied to the regime, so her appearances are tightly controlled. Ri Sol-ju only goes out when her husband does, and even though the media would love to capture every moment of the supreme leader and his first lady, they must follow one crucial rule: no coverage of her without Kim Jong-un's permission. Photographers and journalists can snap all the pictures they want of Kim Jong-un, but they must refrain from doing the same for his wife. It's common to see them together, whether it's walking, riding, sitting, or even speaking, but only one of their actions is recorded in the media. In the rare cases when they're seen together, it's always under the scrutiny of government-approved coverage. And while there's no known instance of them being photographed outside the media's control, breaking this rule would come with serious consequences. Her children. North Korea's leadership structure is unlike that of any other country. In most nations, leadership changes through elections or term limits, but North Korea operates under a system where one family, the Kims, has held power for 3 generations. After a leader's death, another member of the Kim family ascends to power, a transition governed by the 10 principles for the establishment of a monolithic ideological system, which dictates that only a male member of the Kim bloodline can lead the nation. This law was established by the Kim family after they gained control, ensuring the dynasty remains in the hands of their descendants. Ri Sol-ju, Kim Jong-un's wife, plays a crucial role in this system. She is expected to bear a male heir to continue the family's reign. The couple married in 2009, and their first child was reportedly born in early 2010. It is believed that Ri Sol-ju had 2 other children after that, though North Korea typically limits families to 2 children. This third child was particularly significant, as rumors suggest the first two were girls, heightening the pressure on her to produce a male heir. The stakes are high for Ri Sol-ju, as failing to provide a male heir could have grave consequences. In the patriarchal regime, Kim Jong-un's leadership would be threatened by the absence of a male successor. Reports suggest she was pressured into childbirth soon after marriage, and the birth of her third child, rumored to be a boy, is considered a crucial moment. The severe consequences faced by those who fail to meet the regime's demands are evident in the brutal fates of Kim Jong-un's brother, Kim Jong-nam, and his uncle, Jang Song-thaek, who were allegedly assassinated. Limited travel freedom. First ladies around the world often have the freedom to travel for various reasons, such as business, politics, or leisure. However, Ri Sol-ju does not enjoy this luxury. Her movements are tightly restricted, both within North Korea and abroad. She can only travel outside the country when accompanied by her husband, Kim Jong-un, typically for funeral visits. Aside from these occasions, Ri Sol-ju rarely leaves home. This strict control over her movements might seem like imprisonment. Whether Ri Sol-ju accepted these restrictions willingly or had them imposed upon her is unclear, but it contrasts sharply with her life before marrying Kim Jong-un. Before marriage, Ri Sol-ju had a much freer life. She studied in China and traveled without restrictions, and she even visited South Korea as a cheerleader, showing a clear fondness for exploration and fun. However, after marrying Kim Jong-un, her freedom was drastically limited, and she was no longer allowed to travel independently. There are rumors suggesting that her past has been erased, with claims that her friends were executed to cover up her earlier life. Though these rumors are unverified, they add to the mystery of Ri Sol-ju's life before and after her marriage, revealing a woman whose existence is now heavily controlled. Surveillance and security measures. With all the strict rules imposed on Ri Sol-ju, one might wonder if she is content with her life. While her true feelings remain unknown, it's hard to imagine anyone being happy under such heavy constraints. Despite her challenging reality, Ri Sol-ju has not left her marriage, likely due to more than just loyalty. It's probably because of the constant surveillance and security measures she faces. The main purpose of this extensive monitoring is her protection, ensuring she's safe from potential threats. However, the surveillance goes far beyond mere safety. Every aspect of Ri Sol-ju's life is closely observed, from her movements to her meetings. Even her most private moments are under watch. Every conversation is recorded, leaving no space for privacy or free expression. This level of control is meant to ensure that Ri Sol-ju doesn't say anything that could harm the ruling family. Her words are carefully scrutinized to maintain her loyalty and adherence to strict rules. Furthermore, the surveillance aims to prevent exposure to dissenting views, reinforcing the regime's control. Some speculate that the surveillance serves a dual purpose, safeguarding the regime and controlling Ri Sol-ju. In this light, she is not just the First Lady, but also a tool to advance Kim Jong-un's power, with every action closely monitored to avoid any deviation. Her sister-in-law, the real power. In the patriarchal structure of the Kim family, women might seem to have little power. However, Kim Yo-jong, the younger sister of Kim Jong-un, defies this assumption by holding the true power in North Korea. While Ri Sol-ju is known as the First Lady, it is Kim Yo-jong who is regarded as the most influential woman in the country. Despite being younger than her brother, Kim Jong-un, Kim Yo-jong is known for her ruthlessness and has risen to the role of Vice Director of Propaganda. This position suits her perfectly, as Kim Jong-un trusts her implicitly, making her one of his closest advisors. She controls who can see him and oversees the documents that reach the supreme leader. No one can meet Kim Jong-un without her approval, making Kim Yo-jong a gatekeeper of power. In many ways, Kim Yo-jong operates behind the scenes, shaping the political landscape of North Korea. In contrast, Ri Sol-ju plays a more symbolic role, adhering to strict rules and protocols rather than taking an active role in governance. One rule she must follow is showing Kim Yo-jong the utmost respect, as crossing her could have severe consequences. Despite their different positions, Ri Sol-ju and Kim Yo-jong are said to have a good relationship, using their collective influence to boost Kim Jong-un's political image globally. However, Kim Yo-jong is clearly the one pulling the strings when it comes to decisions involving Ri Sol-ju's daily life. a rigid daily schedule. Ri Sol-ju's life is a constant cycle of strict routines, with every aspect of her day meticulously planned and monitored. There is no room for spontaneity or leisure. Her schedule is rigid, leaving little time for personal desires or distractions. From waking up to going to bed, every part of her day is dictated by rules and expectations. Even her time outside is tightly controlled. When accompanying her husband on public outings, there is a set amount of time they must be seen before returning to their private life. This structure applies to every facet of her life, from meals to bathing and other duties, creating a life marked by precision and order. As First Lady, Ri Sol-ju must balance her roles as wife, mother, and national figure. She is responsible for managing the household, caring for her children, and raising them according to North Korea's strict ideological values. Unlike other First Ladies, she cannot delegate these tasks but must carry them out personally, with her every action scrutinized to ensure compliance with the regime's expectations. Her life is dominated by an unrelenting series of obligations, with little space for relaxation or enjoyment. Fun is a distant thought for Ri Sol-ju, as her social circle is controlled and monitored. It's a life under constant pressure, with few opportunities for personal freedom. Restricted social circle. For Ri Sol-ju, having friends is not a simple matter of personal choice. After her previous friends were allegedly executed to cover up her past, Ri Sol-ju was effectively barred from forming new friendships without government approval. Any individual she interacts with must undergo extensive background checks by the authorities. This process, likely designed to ensure loyalty, further serves the regime's agenda of maintaining control over information and power. Even if she is allowed to have a friend, the government's heavy surveillance ensures that these interactions are strictly monitored. Conversations must adhere to the plan, meaning they cannot deviate from what is acceptable by the regime. Ri Sol-ju is not permitted to engage with foreigners, which aligns with North Korea's isolationist policies. This restriction prevents the spread of ideas and information that could be harmful to the state. Considering the high level of scrutiny, it's hard to imagine anyone willingly choosing to be friends with Ri Sol-ju. The risk involved is immense, especially given that her previous friendships ended tragically with executions. In a regime where even the smallest misstep can lead to severe consequences, being associated with Ri Sol-ju is not a decision made lightly. So, would you take the risk of befriending Ri Sol-ju? The honest answer is likely a resounding no for most people, given the danger that could come with it. Her competition. Despite her position as North Korea's First Lady, Ri Sol-ju faces considerable competition, particularly in the context of the country's leadership dynamics. Although adultery and polygamy are technically prohibited in North Korea, Kim Jong-un, like his predecessors, has been known to take mistresses. For Ri Sol-ju, the pressure to produce a male heir is immense, as failing to do so could undermine her place in the family. Her last childbirth may have been her final opportunity to solidify her role as Kim Jong-un's primary wife. However, the competition isn't just about having an heir, it's about having the right heir. The ruling party must deem the child strong enough to continue the family's reign. Kim Jong-un himself was chosen to lead over his older brothers, Kim Jong-chul and Kim Jong-nam, not based on age, but because he was considered the most capable successor. Ri Sol-ju's position is further complicated by potential rivals within Kim Jong-un's circle, such as Hyun Song-wol, a popular singer who has been close to him since his youth. Recently appointed to the Central Committee of the Workers' Party, Hyun Song-wol's rising influence has sparked rumors of a rekindled relationship. Seen traveling with Kim Jong-un on official trips to China, Hyun Song-wol poses a potential challenge to Ri Sol-ju's status, leaving her in a precarious position. Before diving into number 1 on this list, a photo has recently ignited social media, sparking wild debates. The image features what are believed to be the niece and nephew of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, but the question remains, are they really his relatives, or is it just an uncanny look-alike? The internet is buzzing with speculation, and the theories are flying fast. Is this a genuine family reveal, or merely a clever coincidence? As we explore the challenges Ri Sol-ju faces in her position, what do you think about the potential power dynamics at play within the Kim family? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Her divorce. The concept of divorce for Ri Sol-ju is not as straightforward as it might be in many other places. In North Korea, divorce is highly regulated by the state, and the laws favor the powerful, particularly the ruling Kim dynasty. For Ri Sol-ju, the prospect of divorce is practically non-existent, as North Korean family law only allows for divorce in cases of adultery. However, this law does not apply to Kim Jong-un or any top-ranking members of the Kim family, meaning that even if Ri Sol-ju was subjected to infidelity, she would have no legal grounds to file for divorce. To make matters worse, domestic violence, irreconcilable differences, or personal dissatisfaction cannot justify a divorce in North Korea. In this context, Ri Sol-ju would be unable to take any action against her husband, even if their marriage was troubled in any way. Given the strict rules imposed on her by Kim Jong-un and the fact that she has consistently adhered to these expectations, it is unlikely that divorce would ever be on the table for her. Any potential divorce would likely have to come from Kim Jong-un himself, but this seems unlikely as he has yet to show any signs of being dissatisfied with Ri Sol-ju. Ultimately, Ri Sol-ju's marriage appears to be a lifetime commitment imposed by not only personal duty, but also the political structure of North Korea, with little chance for personal choice or escape. The rules of her life, including her marriage, seem unyielding and controlling, leaving her with no feasible path to seek freedom through divorce. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoy the video, please let us know by clicking the like button, do share, write a comment, and don't forget to subscribe.